Hello and welcome back to Incredible Inverts and Other Animals with me, Phil. Now in today's video we're going to take a look at a tiny little scorpion. This will be my matte brown Sumatran scorpion, or Chaerilus species Sumatra. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so here we have my matte brown scorpion, or Chaerilus species Sumatra. Now these guys are fantastic little scorpions, so you can see they don't get very big whatsoever. So the water bowl there is actually a kind of what they sell as a sling water bowl from the side of the shop. And these guys only get really just a few centimeters long, and that's it. So they're really small species, but absolutely fantastic, and not to be, you know, they're sometimes a bit underrated in my opinion. The smaller scorpions are just as great as the larger scorpions. Now there's not a huge amount really known about this species. It's not even been potentially formally identified stuff, and that's what that means when you hear a name where it's got the genus name and then it says SP and then country of origin, or perhaps the region of origin. It means it hasn't been formally identified as a actual species. So this one's just called Chaerilus species Sumatra. So obviously it means that this particular specimen and species is found in Sumatra. It's found in the forests there, so they do like it fairly humid. So to keep these guys, they are relatively simple. So I like to keep the substrate, at least one part of it, sort of fairly dampened down, fairly moist, but also give some areas where it's a bit drier so it can escape if it needs to. So a water bowl is a must. So as you can see, I've stuck one of the spice shops still sling water bowls in there. But a bottle cap works just as well, just as fine. You know, you don't need to spend loads of money on water bowls, but I wanted to make this a kind of a bit of a display sort of area. And then it needs a hide as well. It doesn't always use the hide, sometimes we'll burrow down, so you want it substrate deep enough that it can form a burrow if it so chooses. And this one actually goes in between sort of doing a burrow and then destroying the burrow and then using the hide, but it does use the hide a fair bit. And for this one, it's a little mini Jason Voorhees mask, which I absolutely love, and it's quite cool to see it sometimes just sitting out, peering out from the mask. It can be quite funny to see. But the substrate in this is just plain coir. There's nothing nothing special in here at all. So really, you know, it can be quite simple to set up. And I'll show you towards the end of the video literally how I've got it set up. And then of course, you know, it feeds on smaller invertebrates, so I tend to feed this fairly small crickets, occasional mini mealworms as well. So it doesn't necessarily eat a huge amount. And you know, one cricket sometimes lasts up to 2 weeks, but I try and, you know, see if it's hungry at least once a week. And try and obviously keep an eye on the abdomen, make sure that it's not thin and not too fat either. So now one thing with these guys is that I found is that they sort of almost play dead a little bit, of where basically just don't move for ages, and so when you can even move them around, they don't move, and then suddenly they will move. And so I've had a few times where I thought it had passed on me but hadn't. And so you disturb it and it just sits there and does nothing, and then eventually starts moving. But as I said, these guys are absolutely fantastic. Now, as you can see from it just walking around here, the enclosure is not a particularly big enclosure, as I will show you this, but it is just a small, basically mini acrylic enclosure for this one. You know, and it's purely just so to display it, so if I wanted it. So we'll go ahead and show you the enclosure. So this is the enclosure. So it's a little ReptiZoo acrylic enclosure. As you can see, you know, it can fit in my hand and stuff. So it is absolutely tiny. So I'll just show you around. Now I'll get these at the Inverts shows from the spice shop for normally about £5. So as a nice little display enclosure. I've got a few of these now because I actually really like them. So I'm not normally an acrylic enclosure fan, but I actually do really like it. It has a little magnet on top to keep the lid in place, just slides out. And then you see just a little water bowl and a Jason mask on substrate. So really basic, but it is doing well. Now obviously you can add, you know, some foliage, and I may add a little bit of fake foliage in here at some point, and even like some moss and stuff. But so far, kept it basic just to keep an eye on it. So for now, Okay guys, so that was my matte brown Sumatran scorpion. So I've ordered Chaerilus species Sumatra. What do you guys think? So personally, I absolutely adore this species. I've been really getting into the smaller scorpions over the past year or so. So as much as I love my larger scorpions, like my Heterometris, my Pandinus and stuff, there's something about the smaller ones that I like just as much. Sometimes some of them have, you know, bags of attitude, like my Paraphagophus. Absolutely bags of attitude. That one, my June scorpions as well, bags of attitude. So this large one, you know, they're not really attitude heavy. Sometimes they even play dead a little bit, I find, and stuff, and then they start moving. So it panics you for a minute and then it moves. So, but absolutely fantastic, absolutely gorgeous little scorpions, in my opinion. Anyway, so, but what do you guys think? If you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Pop some comments down below. And if you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that bell for notifications. I'm on track, hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers soon, hopefully for my birthday. That would be great. But I'll be there soon, which will be absolutely fantastic. So, and also, if you're interested, I do have Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Links for that all down in the description. Yeah, please go over and check those out. So, and there's also a link down in the description to my merch store. Again, if that's something that interests you, please do go ahead and check it out as well. But until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, and keep rocking.